What's up, I'm back baby. Posted by you/drumhead. Entitled Ladies Porsche Loses Tires. Okay, so this story took place back when I was in Florida in the early 90s. It does involve an act of vandalism that is connected to revenge. Hopefully it won't be removed and hopefully it will count as nuclear revenge. Anyway, South Florida was devastated by Hurricane Andrew. My dad, as part of a local charity, was set up day after day at a local market seeking donations from shoppers to give to food banks. You have to understand this storm left many people homeless and without power, in some cases for 6+ months in Florida heat and humidity. My father was legally disabled from a serious car accident. He was hit by a drunk driver in the early 80s and suffered from relentless hip and back problems. It never killed his heart or kindness to others, hence the charity work. One day he was about to pull into the disabled space at the local market to go buy a few items to donate to the hurricane charity. Right before he is about to pull in, this lady pulls into the space in this shiny red Porsche. My dad parks behind her and says, "Excuse me ma'am, I was about to pull in there," and also points to his disabled placard in the window. She says to him, "You don't look disabled," and proceeded to walk into the store. For anyone who has a relative who uses a disabled space, you know the frustration of the situation and the anger one feels. My dad, seemingly unfazed, waits until she goes into the store and then gets out and snips the valve stems on all 4 tires, flattening, but not destroying all of them. He then pulls into another space not far away and just waits. About 15 minutes later the lady comes out and is shrieking about her car being vandalized. My dad is far enough away so she can't see him, but he can hear everything. She calls the police. Big mistake. She files a report for vandalism, and the police give her a ticket for being parked in the disabled space with no placard. About $250 at the time. The cops leave and she calls a tow truck. As the car is being loaded onto the truck, my dad pulls up and says to her, "You don't look disabled, but your car sure is," and then drives off. My dad could be a nice guy and pure savage when he needed to be. Posted by you/Azakura. We got a shitty teacher fired, blacklisted, and investigated by the police for child porn. In high school I had several classmates who were very well developed, and underage, 14-yo, and the German teacher took notice. A lot of the girls got more attention from him. He would bend over their desks in such a way that he could sneak a peek, and he was just generally being a creep. One day we got some tests back and right away we noticed something odd. The chesty girls all got higher grades than the rest of us. Even the kid who was super good at German got a lower grade than them. I went to the principal with a few other classmates who were ticked off that our hard work wouldn't pay off and these girls got a free ride, and we were told, well, that's just life. They probably studied hard for this test. Spoiler alert, they didn't, and were pretty confused about their high grades. We began talking during another class and we noticed some trends. During the class quizzes, they got the easier questions. Their tests were graded more softly than the rest. And the part that weirded most of them out, he spent a lot more time close to them, to point something out in the textbook. These girls loved the easy grades, but they were no sluts, and did not appreciate the teacher acting like a creep. So I gave them an idea: collect some statements, make a video of him helping another female student, and show it all to the principal. They happily complied, expecting the teacher to get a stern talking to from the principal/someone with authority. So they filmed the teacher blatantly staring at a girl's boobs during class, getting too close for comfort with another one, and making weird comments. When they showed the principal, he told them that he saw nothing wrong and to just focus on schoolwork. They were rightfully pissed off, and we talked it over with nearly the entire class because at this point we were all invested in this. And that's when I got a bright idea: we should all show that video to our parents, or post it on social media or something. The following week we were told the teacher was on sick leave, and a few weeks later the temporary replacement told us he was fired but wouldn't say what for. We had our suspicions though. It wasn't until after I graduated that I heard the full story from an ex-classmate who actually bothered to investigate it. The day after we blasted that video on social media, the school was bombarded with phone calls from parents asking why that teacher still has a job, if he's a pedophile, why they'd allow a pedophile to work there, etc. They were furious. The teacher was fired on the spot, and the police investigated him because of all the worried parents thinking he was a pedophile. I did not expect what they uncovered though. The guy actually possessed child porn. Like, little kids. At the time he was still awaiting trial, it had been postponed several times, and I have been unable to find info on his case, so I don't know what his sentence was. I've heard his wife divorced him as soon as she found out. So he lost his job, future, wife, and reputation all because he played favorites at school. Posted by you/JamieT789. Taking down Bridezilla. I went to a sort of pre-bachelorette party for a sorority sister who I hadn't seen in a while and who turned out to be a complete Bridezilla B*TCH. One of our other friends from college is pregnant from a one-night stand and does not know who the father is but is keeping the baby. Bridezilla figured out that she is going to be about 8 months pregnant at the wedding and wouldn't let her be a bridesmaid. She was really nasty and called her a tramp and said she should have gotten an abortion. The girl got really upset and left. Almost everybody else did too. One of the girls out partying with us is a nurse practitioner. She invited the remaining girls back to her apartment. I don't know what she gave Bridezilla, but she was out cold really fast. That's where it got really weird. I had had way too much to drink and crashed on the couch when the other girls left. I woke up a couple of hours later looking for the bathroom, and I walked in on the nurse and Bridezilla. Bridezilla was still out cold, but the nurse had her naked from the waist down and on the bed with a bunch of pillows under her and her legs spread like she was giving her a gyno exam. I then saw her hold something up and laugh and I realized what she had just done. She had removed Bridezilla's IUD. I got really upset at first and started yelling at her that she was a psycho, so she just flushed it down the toilet and reminded me that if I said anything Bridezilla would probably have both of us arrested. I realized she was right, of course. And it didn't help, I was really drunk. When she saw I was backing down, she laughed and explained that her IUD was the copper kind with no hormones to stay behind in her body to prevent ovulating, and that with any luck Bridezilla would be showing a baby bump by her wedding day. At first I was going to keep my mouth shut, but I had second thoughts and felt guilty and tried to contact Bridezilla later to warn her somehow, but she wouldn't return my calls and texted me that she was angry at me for inviting our pregnant friend out that night. She texted some really nasty things about her. So I decided Bridezilla really deserved what was coming to her. But I didn't want to bring an unwanted baby into the world. I spread a rumor that she had gotten really drunk that night and told us she was getting her IUD removed because she wanted to make sure her fiancé was on the hook with a baby just in case he got cold feet before the wedding. Word got back to him, and he insisted on checking for her strings himself and then dragging her to the walk-in clinic when he couldn't feel them. By the end of her exam the wedding was off. Word is she just got a D&C. So not only did we get revenge on her for being a total B*TCH, we also saved a nice guy from a bad marriage. I screwed his brains out last weekend. He deserved it, and so did she. This isn't revenge, this just shows that every single one of you is a shitty human being in this story. Bridezilla for being an utter cunt towards the pregnant friend. Your nurse friend who basically drugged and sexually assaulted Bridezilla to take her IUD out. She should have her license revoked and should spend some jail time. You for letting it all happen without doing anything about it. You knew at some point and could have stopped it, you could have helped but didn't, you are an accomplice and should also be in jail. And on top of that you also screwed the dude. People like you will also one day be in a revenge story, but you won't be the one to write it.